the reinvention of David Alaba, a new life at Real Madrid. Hello, Madridistas! Today, we dive into one of the most fascinating and unexpected stories of the season, a tale not just about footballing tactics, but about resilience, leadership, and the ability to reinvent oneself at the highest level. We're talking about David Alaba and how, under the guidance of Xavi Alonso, he has gone from being a fading presence in Real Madrid's defense to a central figure in midfield, reborn as a defensive pivot. From Vienna to Madrid, the journey of a prodigy. To appreciate what's happening now, we need to rewind the clock. Born in Vienna in 1992 to a Nigerian father and a Filipino mother, David Alaba was always destined to break barriers. By the time he was 17, he was already debuting with Bayern Munich's senior squad, showcasing not only technical brilliance but also an intelligence on the pitch that belied his age. At Bayern, Alaba became a legend. He played left-back, centre-back, central midfield, and excelled in all of them. He was part of the golden era that conquered Europe multiple times, lifting Champions League trophies, countless Bundesliga titles, and carving his name among the most versatile and reliable players in world football. When he joined Real Madrid in 2021, arriving on a free transfer after his contract with Bayern expired, it was heralded as a coup. He was expected to fill the enormous void left by Sergio Ramos and Rafael Varane. And in his early days, he did just that. The problem? Injuries, competition, and age. Alaba quickly established himself in Madrid's backline, forming a strong partnership with Eder Militao. He brought leadership, calmness, and superb distribution from the back. Who could forget the iconic celebration when he lifted a chair in the air after a crucial Champions League goal in 2022? But as time went on, cracks began to show. Recurrent muscle injuries limited his availability. The arrival of Antonio Rudiger and the reliability of Nacho Fernandez further complicated his role. Suddenly, the once indispensable Austrian was no longer guaranteed a place in the starting 11. Critics began to whisper, was Alaba past his best? Would he fade into a background role, another veteran unable to maintain the relentless demands of Real Madrid? The turning point. Xavi Alonso's brilliant gamble. Enter Xavi Alonso. The Basque tactician, himself a world-class midfielder in his playing days, has brought to Madrid a unique understanding of the game. He doesn't just see players for what they are, he sees what they could become. And in Alaba, Alonso saw untapped potential. Instead of discarding the Austrian as surplus in defense, he imagined him as a defensive midfielder, the anchor of Madrid's midfield, the metronome at the base of the team. It was a bold move. Few imagined it could work. But football has always rewarded boldness. Why Alaba works as a defensive midfielder? The transformation didn't happen by chance. Alaba possesses qualities tailor-made for this role. Ball distribution. His left foot has always been a weapon. From deep, he can switch play, thread vertical passes, or calmly recycle possession. Defensive reading. Years as a centre-back gave him the instincts to anticipate danger, cut passing lanes, and cover for advancing fullbacks. Leadership. Surrounded by younger midfielders like Camavinga, Tchouaméni, and Valverde, Alaba provides authority, calmness, and experience. Tactical intelligence. Having played across multiple positions throughout his career, he understands spatial dynamics better than most players. For a Madrid squad facing inevitable fatigue across its midfield engine room, Alaba's rebirth as a pivot is nothing short of a godsend. The locker room effect. Inside the dressing room, the reaction has been overwhelmingly positive. Younger players look up to Alaba as proof that reinvention is possible. Veterans respect his humility and work ethic, especially at an age where many players simply coast toward retirement. Reports suggest Alaba has doubled down in training, watching footage of elite midfielders, fine-tuning his positioning, and adapting his instincts. Far from resisting the change, he has embraced it, treating this as a fresh challenge rather than a demotion. Famous football reinventions. Alaba's story is not without precedent. Football is full of players who reinvented themselves. Philipp Lahm, Bayern Munich, a world-class right-back who Guardiola transformed into a brilliant holding midfielder. Javier Mascherano, Barcelona, a defensive midfielder at River Plate and Liverpool, reinvented as a reliable centre-back. Bastian Schweinsteiger, Germany, began as a winger before becoming a midfield general, leading Germany to the 2014 World Cup. Sergio Busquets, Barcelona, once a forward in youth football, turned into arguably the finest holding midfielder of his generation. Now, Alaba is writing his own chapter in this book of transformations. The numbers behind the transformation. While still early, initial statistics back up Alonso's gamble. Over 92% passing accuracy from deep midfield positions. 7 ball recoveries per match on average, comparable to Madrid's natural pivots. Active involvement in 60% of Madrid's attacking build-ups when playing as pivot. A noticeable drop in dangerous giveaways compared to younger midfielders. Numbers don't lie. Alaba isn't just surviving in midfield, he's thriving. The emotional dimension. Beyond tactics and stats lies the human story. Alaba's reinvention is a lesson in perseverance. At 33, when many players either fade away or leave for less competitive leagues, he has found a second wind at the very top. For Alaba, it's a personal renaissance. For the team, it's proof that everyone matters. For the fans, it's a reminder that the white shirt can give players new life if they're willing to fight for it. And for Alonso, it's validation that coaching is not only about signings, but also about creativity and trust in the players you already have. The future. Can he become the new Casemiro? The big question is whether this reinvention will hold up in the most demanding matches, Champions League knockouts, El Clasico, and high-pressure finals. If Alaba proves he can dominate midfield in those moments, Madrid may have discovered, almost by accident, a new version of Casemiro, a homegrown solution to what many thought was a long-term hole in the squad. Even if the experiment doesn't fully hold, Alonso's courage in trying it shows a willingness to innovate, to think differently, and to trust the squad's internal resources. Conclusion. A second career, a second legacy. David Alaba's reinvention is more than a tactical tweak. It is a story of resilience, leadership, and evolution. It shows that in football, as in life, it's never too late to start over. At 33, Alaba could easily have drifted into irrelevance at Madrid. Instead, he has redefined himself, found a new purpose, and perhaps even extended his career at the highest level. Xavi Alonso, meanwhile, has proven that the best coaches are not just winners of trophies but also architects of careers, capable of unlocking hidden potential and giving players fresh chapters in their story. If this gamble succeeds, Madridistas may one day look back on the 2024-25 season not only as the year of victories, but also as the year David Alaba was reborn. Marc Guéhi's dream of wearing white. The transfer market always delivers stories that capture the imagination. Some rise and fade in the daily cycle of rumors, others spark heated debate, and a select few ignite real hope among fans and create ripples across Europe. One such case is taking shape right now. Marc Guéhi, the England international defender, who has made no secret of his ambition to one day play for Real Madrid. For Guéhi, this is more than a passing comment, it's a declaration of intent. For Madrid, it's a chance to secure not just a player for today, but a cornerstone for the next decade. And for the fans, it's the kind of story that reminds everyone why football is so magnetic. The dreams of players colliding with the destiny of the biggest clubs. A modern defender rising through the ranks. Born in Ivory Coast and raised in England, Marc Guéhi is a product of Chelsea's famed Cobham Academy. Despite his promise, first-team opportunities were scarce at Stamford Bridge. Instead of fading into obscurity, Guéhi chose a different path, a permanent move to Crystal Palace. It was a bold decision, but one that transformed his career. At Selhurst Park, Guéhi became much more than a squad player. He grew into a leader of the defense, the kind of player teammates look to in moments of pressure. Strong in aerial duels, composed in one-on-one battles, and, perhaps most importantly in the modern game, comfortable playing out from the back, he quickly became one of the most reliable central defenders in the Premier League. His performances caught the eye of Gareth Southgate, who brought him into the England national team setup. Representing the Three Lions, Guéhi proved he could handle the international stage just as calmly as the domestic one. Few players his age combine such maturity, tactical discipline, and physical ability. Why Madrid wants him. At Valdebebas, Real Madrid's training ground, no decision is made lightly. The club has identified the need to refresh its defense in the coming years. Veterans still perform at a high level, but planning for the future has always been a hallmark of Madrid's success. Enter Guéhi. His profile fits seamlessly with the vision of Xabi Alonso, the man widely expected to lead Madrid's bench. Alonso, who as a player epitomized intelligence and composure, values defenders who do more than clear the danger. He wants players who can initiate attacks and set the tempo from the back. In private discussions, Alphonso is said to have praised Guéhi's qualities. He's young, but he has the calmness of a veteran. He knows when to step forward, when to hold his line, and he has the courage to play. He brings balance to a team. It is no surprise, then, that Madrid views Guéhi not as a luxury signing, but as a strategic piece of the puzzle. The player's desire. What makes this story especially compelling is Guéhi's own open admiration for Real Madrid. In a recent interview with an English outlet, he said, "Real Madrid has always been a special club. Everyone knows what it means to wear that shirt. For any footballer, being part of that history is a dream." A short comment, but one with enormous weight. In Spain, newspapers and television programs immediately interpreted it as a "come and get me" message. On social media, Madrid fans celebrated the statement, flooding timelines with messages like, "Sign him before anyone else does," and "He has the DNA of a Real Madrid player already." A statement signing. For Madrid, signing Guéhi would serve multiple purposes. Short-term reinforcement, adding depth and competition to a demanding position. Long-term vision, securing a defender who could anchor the backline for the next decade. Market message, reminding the football world that Real Madrid isn't just about buying superstars at their peak, but also about developing young talents into global icons. A senior club figure reportedly put it this way: "We don't just look for players who are already finished products. We look for those who want to grow with us." Guéhi has ambition, and that kind of mentality is exactly what belongs at Madrid. The view from England. News of Madrid's interest hasn't gone unnoticed across the channel. British outlets have debated the potential transfer at length. The Daily Mail ran with the headline, "Real Madrid target Premier League's most reliable defender." Meanwhile, The Guardian posed the question, can England afford to lose one of its defensive leaders to Spain's giants? Former professionals have weighed in as well. Jamie Carragher, the Liverpool legend, commented on television, "Guéhi's top class. If Madrid are circling, it tells you everything about his level. And let's be honest, when Real Madrid comes knocking, it's almost impossible to say no." The fans' excitement. For the Madrid faithful, the possibility of signing Guéhi is already generating real excitement. In fan forums, many point out how perfectly he could complement Eder Militao or even succeed veterans like Nacho in the long term. Others emphasize the psychological boost of bringing in a young player who openly dreams of wearing white. One supporter wrote online, "Imagine Guéhi and Militao together, that would be an unbreakable wall." Timing is everything. As always, the transfer market is a race against time. Crystal Palace will not let their star defender leave easily, and his value continues to rise with every performance. Other clubs, both in England and on the continent, are monitoring his situation closely. For Madrid, the key will be acting decisively before the price skyrockets or another team swoops in. The lingering question is simple yet critical. Will Florentino Perez and the Madrid board move swiftly to turn Guéhi's dream into reality? Conclusion: a dream waiting to be realized. The story of Marc Guéhi and Real Madrid is still in its early chapters. The player has declared his admiration, the club has clear needs, and the fans are eager. The pieces are in place. Only the decision-makers in Madrid can determine how the story ends. One thing, however, is certain. The idea of seeing Marc Guéhi in the famous white shirt has already become one of the most fascinating narratives of the upcoming transfer windows. Alex Jiménez and his new adventure in the Premier League. The name Alex Jiménez is starting to resonate strongly on the international stage. For many Real Madrid fans, his loan move to Bournemouth, competing in the demanding Premier League, has been received as both an exciting development and a highly strategic move. This is not just another loan. Behind this operation lies a carefully crafted plan by the Madrid sporting directors, reflecting the importance the club places on its youth academy and its long-term vision for nurturing talent. La Fábrica, a strategic asset. Before diving into Jiménez's story, it's important to understand what La Fábrica, the Real Madrid academy, represents. Historically, the club has not only relied on high-profile signings to dominate headlines, but also consistently cultivated homegrown talent to feed the first team. Players like Raúl González, Iker Casillas, Dani Carvajal, Nacho Fernandez, and Lucas Vázquez demonstrate that the academy is not just a supplement but a silent backbone supporting the club's identity. In today's globalized football market, where transfer fees are astronomical and competition is fierce, having a constant pipeline of homegrown players is an invaluable resource. When a young talent like Alex Jiménez emerges, the club immediately moves to protect and strategically manage his development. Who is Alex Jiménez? Born in Madrid in 2005, Alex Jiménez was identified early by Real Madrid's youth system. He progressed rapidly through the ranks at Valdebebas, impressing coaches with his versatility on the right flank, defensive solidity, and attacking dynamism. By his teenage years, he was widely regarded as one of the most promising fullbacks of his generation. His first major exposure to professional football came through a loan spell at AC Milan, where he gained invaluable experience, learning tactical discipline and the importance of positioning in high-stakes matches. Despite limited playing time due to rotation and managerial changes, the experience prepared him for the next level, the English Premier League. The challenge of the Premier League. The Premier League is widely recognized as the most competitive league in the world. Every weekend, Jiménez will face top-tier wingers and attackers with explosive speed, technical ability, and tactical intelligence, demanding rapid adaptation. For a young fullback, England presents the ideal environment for growth. Extreme physical demands. Every duel requires peak fitness and mental resilience. International visibility. Matches are watched by millions globally, boosting a player's profile. Opportunity to play. Clubs like Bournemouth provide real minutes and responsibility to young players hungry to prove themselves. Bournemouth, while not a traditional league giant, has a competitive structure and a track record of developing young talent. For Jiménez, this is a platform to showcase his abilities on a major stage. The strategic operation. The Real Madrid loan agreement includes two key clauses. Buyback option. The club retains the right to recall Jiménez if he proves ready for the first team. 50% future sale rights. Should another club purchase him, half of the transfer proceeds will go to Real Madrid. This dual mechanism ensures the club retains control over his career. Similar strategies have succeeded in the past. For example, Dani Carvajal thrived at Bayer Leverkusen before returning to Madrid as a first-team regular, and players like Alvaro Morata have alternated between loans and returns, benefiting both themselves and the club financially and sportingly. Monitoring from Valdebebas. At Valdebebas, Madrid's coaching staff will monitor Jiménez's development closely. His progression in England will be analyzed in detail, and if he excels, a return to the first team could come sooner than expected. The philosophy is clear. A youth player must mature in competitive environments before being entrusted with the immense pressure of wearing the Real Madrid jersey. The Bernabeu is not a place to form talent. It is a stage where fully formed players shine. Technical profile. Position, right back, with the ability to play as a wing-back in a back five. Strengths, top-end speed, physical power, defensive aggression, and crossing ability. Areas for improvement, handling high-pressure matches and tactical consistency. Style of play, modern, attack-minded fullback with constant forward runs. Comparisons can be drawn with Dani Carvajal or a peak Hector Bellerin. Player's mindset. Alex Jiménez has expressed enthusiasm for this new chapter. He emphasized his commitment to hard work, learning, and making an impact in the Premier League while maintaining his connection to Real Madrid. The club that trained me will always be in my heart, and my goal is to grow and return one day to repay their trust, he reportedly said. His mindset is critical. At Valdebebas, talent alone is never enough. Humility, dedication, and mental resilience separate good players from elite professionals. Final reflection. A paradigmatic case. Jiménez's story perfectly illustrates Real Madrid's current strategy. Instead of risking losing promising players abroad, the club has designed a system of controlled loans and sales that ensures it always maintains the upper hand. In a football world where business and passion coexist, Real Madrid has achieved balance, protecting its academy, nurturing talent, and retaining the ability to reintegrate players into the first team at the right moment. Ultimately, Alex Jiménez's loan is not just a temporary move, it is a bet on the future, an investment in footballing maturity, and a clear statement of the club's long-term vision. What happens at Bournemouth will be followed closely by fans, coaches, and executives alike, because if all goes well, we may be witnessing the rise of another historic Real Madrid right back.